Seems like a long time ago when the now Chelsea owner Todd Bowley was suggesting, what about a North versus South All-Stars game? Well, it never actually came into being, but now something like it involving football legends is going to happen at the home of Charlton Athletic, the Valley, on June the 1st. Because it is indeed that. It's a North versus South fixture featuring some of the biggest names in football. Harry Redknapp will take charge of the South, and the team's captain for the North is none other than the legendary striker. He is the manager, not the captain. He is the manager, and he is Robbie Fowler, who I bumped into yesterday at Wembley. Robbie, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Jim. How are you, pal?
I'm very well, Robbie. Thank you very much for joining us. So tell us more about this. North versus South, and you are managing the North. How did this come about?
Well, it's been an idea. It's been maybe, in the idea of obviously the people who were organised it for maybe 15, 17 years now. So it's managed to come to fruition. There's going to be a game on the 1st. It's the day after the Champions League. So I think that there might be a few Liverpool representatives because they won't be at the Champions League game. So it'll be good. It'll be competitive. There'll be a little bit of rivalry. I think we over the years have always mentioned that North-South divide. So I think we can really have maybe a competition who really has got the best players and who the best side is. So it will be competitive. There's an element of fun involved in that as well. But Jim, I think when all players get together, and myself and Harry are tasked with maybe building a team and building a squad together to be ultra competitive. So it'll be a good game, a real competitive game.
I get that. I mean, you will want to win as much as Harry will want to win. So you're managing the North. Can you let us into any of the secrets? Do you know who is going to be in your squad, Robbie? Can you give us a name or two?
Yeah. I mean, look, the name I've got. I mean, the one name I've got is Steve McManaman, who's going to be my captain. So obviously, we're tasked with building these players. And look, the rule is we were told that there's no rule. So if you're like an overseas player, but you've represented a North or a South team, then you can play for one of those. So if you're Northern born but represented a Southern based team, then you can play for the South. So Harry's book's probably a little bit bigger than mine, so I think he'll probably have a little few more players to pick from. But look, we will get a team together. We have got a very, very good squad of Northern players who've maybe not long retired, and the competitive edge will certainly be there.
I like the sounds of it. Martin's going to come in a second. I mean, this is going to be a regular thing from now on, I think, Robbie. It's not a one-off.
No, that's the plan. So, look, this game is going to be at Charlton on the 1st of June. Next year, we're obviously going to try and get a Northern-based stadium. So, it's going to give people up and down the country a chance to come and see, obviously, great players playing in or representing a Northern team or a Southern team. So, I'm looking forward to hopefully years and years of of competitive games.
Sounds good, Martin.
It does. The way I played against Robbie Fowler, he certainly wouldn't want me in his defence. Not at this age, anyway. As well, Robbie, I'm 10 years older than you.
You could play for the North, mate.
Do you know, I always enjoyed my time with you and Steve McManaman. Our England get-togethers. You two had toast, didn't you, with every meal? On everything, didn't matter what it was. Yeah. I'm sure you'll have toast before the pre-match.
Would you fancy playing something like this, Martin?
We're Northern, mate. We're
Northern, of course you are, Robbie. What do you think of this, Martin?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. They're getting together to raise money for charity.
Yeah,
it's it'd be a great opportunity to see some of these stars from yesteryear. Just about Harry, I'm just looking. Someone told me that this Eddie Howe's the first English manager to win a trophy since Harry Redknapp back in 2008.
Yeah.
So there we go, and Harry's still going strong. So we should be respectful to that, and I'm sure he'll bring lots of players. Robbie, you're up against it because the portfolio of players that he's got. I'm sure Crouchy will be in there, or the Defoe boy, as he used to say, didn't he?
Yeah.
There might be a few last-minute signings as well.
Where do you?
Go on, Robbie.
I mean, he's traipsing up and down the motorway. He's up and down the motorway in the car, mate, trying to get players already, to be fair. But look, Harry's Harry, and Harry's an absolute superstar, isn't he? So he's an absolute superstar. So, of course, look, he will pick an unbelievable squad. But, look, you know, I've got a few contacts myself, mate, so we'll be all right.
You bet you have. You will favour the South, Simon, as you always do, when it comes to North-South matters.
Yeah, of course I would. I mean, obviously I wouldn't be able to go because I wouldn't be able to get the stench of the valley off my skin, having to go down to Charlton's ground. So I wouldn't find myself there. But listen, I think these things are great. I mean, it's another way of looking at sport. I've played in a couple of games when it was the old Palace side against Manchester United and Liverpool. So I've played against McManaman and Jamie Redknapp and other people like that.
You did?
Yeah, it was great fun to do.
And you scored at Wembley?
Yes, at the first ever game
He
at
still
Wembley.
insists that he did, Robbie.
Of course I did, but it's not. This is a different set of spectacles. This is ex-legend players all playing against one another.
Yeah.
With people like Robbie Fowler as manager and Harry Redknapp. Obviously, you know, if we have Neil Ruddock in there, then, you know, like Harry's heroes, no one's going to score any free kicks because it will block the goal, even though he's now in a different condition. Look, it's another way of looking at football. It's another interesting thing. They'll probably get a very big crowd, and if it's going to charity, then great, fantastic.
Robbie, earlier on we were talking about Newcastle coming out on top in the Carabao Cup final yesterday at Wembley against your old club Liverpool. Simon typically has no sentiment whatsoever. Sentimentality is out the window when it comes to it's Newcastle's first trophy in 70 years. That apart, what happened to Liverpool yesterday, Robbie?
You know what? I think Newcastle were a better team. I mean, you just said they come out on top. I think they started on top and they finished on top. So, you know, I've got no complaints, certainly from a Liverpool point of view. I think Liverpool was schooled, in all fairness. I think, you know, Eddie Howe tactically was better yesterday than Arne Slot. I think there's no two ways about it. They were by far the better team. You know, the lads in the studio will tell you, how you win games is you control that middle of the park first, and I thought the midfield three of Joe Linton, Guimaraes and who else played? Joe Linton were unbelievable. Joe Linton, Guimaraes, and who was
Tonali, yeah, great players.
Tonali, sorry, yeah. So the three of them just controlled the middle of the pitch, and I think that was the starting point for them. You know, they were allowed to sort of bring the ball down and control the game. I mean, you've got Isak, who was a tremendous forward, and he will be, you know, on the lips of every top club in European football now, if he wasn't already. But just Liverpool players just never showed up. I mean, I'm reading reports that they wanted it more. I mean, I don't sort of buy into that. I think because Liverpool going into a game, of course they wanted it, but the players just didn't turn up. You know, so they did want it, but they just weren't allowed to sort of you know, get any sort of pattern into the game because Newcastle were better from the first whistle.
Robbie, as a legend at the club as you were back in the day, are you now concerned that these three major signings have not actually put pen to paper coming to the end of the season? I know it looks like they win the Premier League, but there's going to be a huge loss surely to the group if they go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I think it's poor from you know, a club the size of Liverpool to sort of be in this position first and foremost. You know, that's obviously a different conversation. I mean, I've been on talkSPORT with Jim and obviously Simon before, and spoke about these players, and you know, from a Liverpool fan point of view, you're mega disappointed if any of them don't sign. I don't think the three of them will, if I'm being totally honest. But you know, it's going to be one of them things with Liverpool now, and certainly after the performance yesterday from some of the players within the team, I think Arne Slot knows that he's maybe going to have a big summer plan because he'll probably want to bring his own players in. So regardless of them players, you know, staying or going, you know that there's going to be a few incomings anyway. So I mean, if it's them players, so be it. And as much as, you know, we don't want them to go because they're all, you know, tremendous players. I mean, if I'm sort of sat here now and thinking, you know, if you're coming back and saying, well, listen, you can only have one of them three, I think I'm going to go for obviously Virgil van Dijk. And I know Mo Salah's numbers are extraordinary. You know, and Trent is, for me, he's probably that position where he plays, he's probably the best in the world at that, at what he does.
But Robbie,
I think Virgil
briefly,
van Dijk would be the biggest.
He'd be the biggest loss, you're going to say. But Van Dijk, do you believe him when he says genuinely, I'm in the dark?
Well, I mean, there's no reason why you would disbelieve him. If they're coming out saying that, then, you know, well, then fair enough. So, I mean, I've no doubt the club are, you know, having conversations and obviously negotiation, but they're obviously miles away from obviously where the players think they should be. So, you know, I'm sure that obviously the agents and the obviously the players themselves are having conversations, but they are miles away from where we think, or the players think they should be.
Do you know what? I think we've already seen a snapshot of how much they're going to miss Trent if he goes, because he went off in the PSG game just as he was starting to control it.
Yeah.
And he was a huge loss at the weekend. So they need to work
Good
hard.
player, Conor Bradley though as well, don't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, without doubt. But
So-
I think Trent's ahead.
Much more important than all of that, Robbie, North versus South. Am I right? North is going to come good in the day.
Absolutely. It's not even a debate, is it?
Robbie, it was good seeing you at Wembley yesterday, mate. Thank you so much for joining us this lunchtime.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.